3, 2, 1.
Well, today's talk title is Climbing the Ladder of Your Life. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to say, considering that talk title, I found myself getting some pushback about my, not my theme for this month, but what I've been talking about, especially last week, my use of imagination as a powerful manifestation tool. And even last week with all the scientific quotes of how imagination impresses the subconscious mind and the people who use their imagination to create some of the great ideas and the great things, the great objects that we use, I got pushback. See, the imagination impresses the subconscious mind and thus our belief system and thus the law of cause and effect or attraction or whatever you want to call it to bring the experiences we have declared we are going to have into the light. That's how it works. That's what I was talking about last week, but people just kept emailing me and texting me and all that kind of stuff. No, come on, man. Imagination. Some people think this is too simplistic, and others, well, I think others have just forgotten about the power of imagination. Forgotten about how we use that in our lives, yes, as children mostly. But as I exampled last week, many adults are using this imagination in scientific ways as well as in inventions. But for some people, it's just not something they think they use anymore. They think they use anymore. So let's understand this concept about how the universe works. I know we talk about it, excuse me, almost every week, pretty much, but let's do that together just another time here specifically. Now, the universe is not just a vast vortex of planets, moons, suns, and the like. It's a place where all lives. Pretty much all lives. Even if you buy into the idea of different dimensions of life going on simultaneously, it is still part of this vast universal creative power. It is the place where all lives here, this universe. We as in humans, are just another form of energy in our universe, and thus our powers of living, our powers of manifestation, our powers of healing, and our powers of just loving life are a part of an individualized version of a personalization of that great energy. Call it what you will. Big Bang, God. It doesn't care what you call it. Now, I've asked you before, and I'm going to ask you again, this time specifically using this term, to have beginner's mind with me. We're going to be talking about imagination and feeling all month. We're going to be talking about the ideas that Neville Goddard pretty much made his career about. And like I told you last week, a lot of people have taken on as students of Neville Goddard. But beginner's mind, I want you to step into that childlike, powerful openness to the power. And imagination is a power that is beyond the physical. It is a metaphysical force, imagination. And at the same time, a physical force of the vibrational universe we live in. We live in a universe of vibration in frequency and wavelength. If you bring your thought process, if you bring your just natural movement, all the things that are happening with you as you live life, it comes down to vibration and frequency. that you are exuding, all the energy that you are exuding. Did you ever notice when certain people walk into a room, things change? And it's not necessarily because of their looks or fame, if they happen to be famous, though that can be a factor, I get it. But because the energy they exude, the attitude, the perspective that they exude about life, their being in life, they're vibrating, they're revealing the divinity that is within them, whether they use these words or not. They just exude this wonderfulness about themselves, their attitude, the perspectives, their personality, of course. And they come into the room and they affect us. They affect us. They inspire us. To the point that sometimes they change what's going on with us personally, with each person that is in the room. Now, sometimes that can be in a negative way too. It's not always, and it's positive and fabulous and wonderful. Sometimes people come in the room and it's a downer. They just suck the goodness out of the room. So that can happen too, because they have a powerful vibration that is affecting everybody else, and we become open to that. Like I said, we live in a vibrational universe, and we want to vibrate responsibly for ourselves and others, so we want to do it purposefully. And we can change any emotion or attitude that is going on because we have the power to do that. You know, I don't have to say anything. I don't even have to make a face for PJ to know when I'm upset about something. She can feel the energy shift in me. Are you like that? Are you like that with your partner, your best friend, maybe even your boss? Can you just feel the energy change, shift? And if so, what do you do about it? How do you allow it to affect you? See, we get to decide whether to put out or be affected by somebody else's high vibration or low vibration. We're not hostages to our emotions as much as we sometimes feel we are. We get to decide to exude a high vibration with feelings of happiness, love, respect, all that good stuff, kindness, or a low vibration from the emotions of anger, disgust, depression, stress, so on. We get to decide. Now, sometimes something will trigger us and we have this immediate reaction through our emotions, but how long do we stay there? That's important. It's important, of course, to have responses versus reactions, and we've talked about that before, but how long do we stay there when we do have a reaction? That's something we can control immediately. That's something that we can make a part of our being immediately. This energy that I'm talking about, that people exude, that you exude, comes from attitude, beliefs, perspectives, perception, and persistent thoughts that you and I have decided to have. Persistent thoughts, whether it's in a specific situation or overall. What are those specific, persistent thoughts that you are having about yourselves? Humans have dominion over their thoughts and feelings. Like I said, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes. And those thoughts and feelings have dominion over the emotions that may pop up from the triggers of old stories or whatever. Healing's an inside job. We got to remember that. Healing is an inside job. Now, it may be enhanced or assisted by a spiritual practitioner, a therapist, or even short-time use of pharmaceuticals or some sort of herb. But in the end, it only sticks because of belief, because of being awake and aware, because of persistent, consistent, and tenacious use of our mind, brain, heart, gut, consciousness, all those parts of us, those powers that are imbued and embedded, that are within each and every one of us right now. I have a great quote for you from Emma Curtis Hopkins, who was the teacher of teachers, as they called her, because she taught many of the founders of 20th century New Thought philosophies. Anyway, she says, persistent thought about prosperity and how prosperity is brought to us will make you a magnet for prosperity. Your prosperity will not be the highest prosperity. It will not be useful prosperity unless you know how to teach others to be prosperous. And I'll put in an aside here. What she means is that you know it so much, you know how to reveal that power within you so much that if you were asked, you could teach it to somebody else. She goes on to say, the pressure of your great riches upon you will make you stiff and sickly unless you can let the spiritual principle flow freely through yourself to others. Again, another aside, it's not a big secret, and you don't have to hold on to it as if it's a big secret. The universe is abundant. The universe is infinite. Everybody could be a billionaire. Anyway, she goes on to say, there must be a draft or the fire will not burn. There must be a valve, or a piston and wheel will wait forever before pulling the cars. There must be a free giving of your truth, or the world may wait another 1,000,000 years for the wretched poverty of its people to be gone. Now, it sounds like she's just talking about money, but she's not. This is the power of health. This is the power of peace of mind and peace in our world as well, not just about money. But sometimes we have to start with, or sometimes restart with. Have no problem when that happens. Sometimes I have to restart with beginner's mind, or what Zen Buddhism calls Shoshin. A gentleman named Shunryu Suzuki wrote a book called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And he wrote, in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few. Isn't that interesting? A beginner doesn't have any expectations or preconceived notions or past experiences to limit their view of the situation. And even if you are an expert at something, I'm an expert at certain things, beginner's mind opens you up to continued curiosity, wonderment, awe, and learning. You think Einstein didn't allow himself to have beginner's mind when he was thinking up new ideas, when he was considering new ideas? And that idea, that can be said about lots of people, not just scientists. Everyone is a creative being. Remember, the expert said airplanes wouldn't work. The earth was flat. People couldn't talk in the movies. The light bulb wasn't a possible thing. Your home computer, the thing you probably, or the phone, the thing you're probably listening or watching this on, most people thought that was impossible. Or even this, that little dowel. I find this fascinating when I look this up. This was actually in the list of things people believe couldn't be invented. So the expansion dowel is usually, now it's plastic. It's this little plastic thing that you'll put in, especially drywall, and then put your screws in to hang pictures, etc., because it expands and grabs onto this drywall, or what usually wouldn't allow a screw to hold on to, especially if you put on weight. Well, somebody invented that. Some guy, I believe it was in 1958, invented that, and most people thought that was an impossible thing to invent, but it has changed many people's lives. Your drywall is probably full of these things hanging something or another. Rachel Carlson is a naturalist, and she wrote this: "A child's world is fresh and new and beautiful, full of wonder and excitement. It is our misfortune that for most of us, that clear-eyed vision, that true instinct for what is beautiful and awe-inspiring, is dimmed and even lost before we reach adulthood. If I had influence with the good fairy who is supposed to preside over all children, I should ask that her gift to each child in the world be a sense of wonder, so indestructible that it would last throughout life." Now, she used the word wander, W-O-N-D-E-R, but you could also use the word wander, W-A-N-D-E-R, not to just kind of mamby-pamby get lost and walk around, but wander through your mind, wander through your wonderful imaginative powers to come to ideas that advance you. So are you finding it difficult to change the concept of yourself as a powerful being? I know I talk about it every week, and I express it every week, how powerful you are, that you are revealing the divine creative power. Well, Neville faced this in a question and answer period during a 1948 seminar about this person asked about the concept of them being a powerful being. And how does he know that? And why isn't it seemingly happening in their lives? And he answered them this way: because your desire to change has not been aroused. If you would fall in love with what you really want to be, you would become it. It takes an intense hunger to bring about a transformation of self. That hunger, that concept, that transformation and transcendence comes through your work in imagining, in envisioning your best self, what really is your natural self, your God-given self. Most of us kind of get away from that God-given self, that God-given power, that concept of who we are. It matters not what other people think. It only matters what you believe, because you, like I say in the beginning of every gathering that we have, you are the irresistible magnet for bringing into your life everything that you desire, everything that you've decided to have. Or, as Neville explained to one of his students, this way: the law is always in operation, always absolute. Your consciousness is the rock upon which all structures rest. Watch what you are aware of. You need not concern yourself with others, because you are sustained by the absoluteness of this law. No man comes to you of his own accord, be he good, bad, or indifferent. He did not choose you. You chose him or her or them. They were drawn to you because of what you are. You cannot destroy the state another represents through force. Rather, leave them alone. What is he, she, them, it to you? Rise to a higher level of consciousness, and you will find a new world awaiting you. And as you sanctify yourself, others are sanctified. So this week, I want to experience a test together. It's a game. Well, I don't know if he called it a game. It's called the Climb the Ladder game. And Neville put this together to help test manifestation, test the law of assumption, as he called it, for yourself, to test and show how imagination creates reality. And it's really very simple. So let's do this one together, and then I'll explain to you how to do it on your own, or the exercise, how to do that for yourself, because it's over 3 days. So we're going to do this together. I'm not going to have any music or anything behind this because you don't need it. But whatever you're doing, if you're in the kitchen, if you're dusting, if whatever is going on, if you're driving, pull over. If you're listening to this later, I want you to sit down, or even lay down if you'd like, comfortably. So let me give you a second to do this. And you're going to do this on your own for 3 nights. I'll explain that later. Okay, so you've sat down or you've lied down. Close your eyes. So remember, there's not going to be any music or anything because you don't need it. You don't need any music for your imagination to work. Okay, so here we go. Your eyes are closed. In your imagination, I want you to picture a ladder, Ladder, a ladder right before you. Maybe it's an A-frame. Maybe it's leaning against your wall or the side of your house. Doesn't matter. Could be an extension ladder if you'd like. Whatever type it is, I want you to see it. Look at it. See the rails on the side? Those are the things you hold on to as you climb. The steps or the rungs that you step onto. Sometimes you pull yourself up with those as well. The spreaders, like on an A-frame, that hold the shape. Usually they're little metal things that open and close up. See the shoes, as they call them, or the base at the bottom. Sometimes they have a little shoe, as they call it, that has some texture on it, so the ladder doesn't slide. See that? Look up at it, and you'll see the cap or the shelf, especially if it's an A-frame, where you usually don't stand on that. It's the very top of it, or the shelf might be near the top where you put the paint can when you're on there, or your tools. See that? If it's an A-frame. Or maybe if it's an extension ladder, can you see the rope? Look at the rope and the pulley there. It's a very simple system. And that rung lock, that thing that flips over so it stops it from expanding or contracting. Thank you. I heard contracting because she sent. I didn't remember the word. See that little rung, that little thing that connects to one of the steps. Either way, look at it. See it. It's right in front of you. Just like that pink elephant that's behind it. Ignore the pink elephant. Now take your imaginary left hand or right hand. You can start out with whichever hand you want. Reach out. Take hold of the side of the ladder. I'll give you a second there to see your hand or something like your hand. You may not see your actual hand, but know that whatever hand that is your hand that you're imagining. And hold on to that side rail. You're not imagining somebody else. This is you. Now take the other side of the ladder with your imaginary right hand or left hand and see it. See your hand in as much detail as you can. Don't force it. Don't worry about it. See your hand in as much detail as you can on the rails. Okay? Now, with your imaginary left foot or right foot, place it on the ladder's first rung or step. Look down, see your shoe or your foot. What does it feel like to have the bottom of your foot placed on that rung or step? What's it feel like? Can you feel it? push on it. Can you feel it? Can you feel that step or that rung? All right, now push yourself up and climb the ladder to the next step. So you've pushed yourself up, and now you lift your other foot and you've put it on the next rung or step. And then you move your hands and you put your other foot up and you lift up to the other step or rung. Push yourself up and climb the ladder to the top. It could be 10 steps. It could be 5 steps, whatever. But feel each step you take, each side of the ladder that you grasp. And when you reach the top, stop and look around. And now slowly climb back down. Each rung, each hand grasping the sides or the step above it, however you like to climb a ladder, and go back down, step by step by step. Now, don't worry if you didn't see it as specifically as you feel like you should, as it feels like I'm instructing you. Don't worry about that. It'll come. This takes practice. Some of us haven't done this kind of imagination work in a long time. That's okay. Now, when you reach the bottom, open your eyes. For the next 3 nights, I want you to repeat this exercise before you go to sleep. Even after you do your affirmative incantation. Just this week, just for the next 3 nights, repeat this exercise before you go to sleep. Now, a great way to make this really helpful is to choose a different sleeping position than your usual. And that's so that you don't doze off too easily. Because once you're comfortable and in your mind you're ready to go to sleep, 95, 8, 9% of the time, you will fall asleep pretty quickly. But we don't want you to do that for the next 3 nights, at least not too quickly. So once you're comfortable, once you're in this kind of new position, if you're usually on your right shoulder, maybe on your left, if you're usually on your back, maybe not on your back, whatever. But once you're comfortable, start imagining yourself in a scene where you're about to climb a ladder. See the ladder in front of you. Imagine stretching out your hand and grabbing one side of the ladder and then putting your other hand firmly on the other side, and notice the feeling of the grip, and then feel your feet on the step of the ladder as you start climbing and climbing and climbing up to the top, and then climbing down. Vividly, as well as you can, feeling the sides of the ladder and the steps where your feet stand, just as you would in the physical world. And keep going up and down until you fall asleep. The next morning, after the first morning, I want you to write down on some piece of paper, or better yet, sticky notes, I will not climb the ladder. Okay? I know this sounds weird, but it works. I will not climb the ladder. Now place one of those in your wallet or in your pocket or something. Place the other one on your bathroom mirror, on your fridge, maybe on your screensaver or something, and read it aloud every time you see it. I will not climb the ladder. I will not climb the ladder. I will not climb the ladder. But then again, at night, repeat the climbing the ladder exercise in your imagination, and do that for 2 more nights, right before you go to sleep in a different position. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's really very simple. Neville says, and I tested this and it works, but I like to use my imagination, so might have been a little quote unquote easier for me. Neville says that you'll climb an actual ladder within a week. You'll, at the very least, see one. Don't go searching for one. You'll see one. One will come available for you to climb. You don't have to go climb it, but you'll see one without looking for it or deliberately getting a ladder. Sort of like that pink elephant that's in the corner of the room there. You see it? Now understand that the ladder is a placeholder for that which you have decided to have in your life. That which you have decided to declare is going to be a part of your experience. And that works with whatever it is, relationships, careers, health, etc., etc., etc. Neville says we must live boldly. We must go through life as though we possessed what we want to possess. Do not think that because you helped another, someone outside of you saw your good works and will give you something to ease your burden. There was no one to do it for you. You yourself must go on boldly, appropriating what the universe has already given you. Mel Robbins says that, Mel Robbins, she's for lack of a better word, motivational speaker. And she says, there's nobody out there that's going to really help you until you help you. Until you're ready to be helped, then you probably will attract somebody who will assist you with ideas or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's you. It's me. It's our own selves. You can build your own stairway to paradise with a new step every day, or by the stairway to heaven with the currency of your imagination. So do that. Boldly, bravely climb the ladder of your life every single day. Thank you so much. Namaste.